There's nothing more fulfilling than to do something with purpose and to actually create a change and to make a difference in a society where things can be a little bit monotonous and stuck in a comfort zone. So breaking this dogma and doing something with such great meaning, it really helps. And from a woman, thank you very much. Of course, as a woman, I care very much for the sustainability of societies and for women empowerment. But I would like us to go beyond the word woman empowerment, because as much as it is attractive and it gets so much media attention whenever you say woman empowerment, you get those flashy headlines. We need to dig deeper into the impact of why we're all here. To be quite honest, women have never been unempowered. As Egyptians, we've been pharaohs, we've been queens, we've led armies, we've been pilots, we've been authors and writers and revolutionists. So as a woman, looking at the historic platform, we have never been disengaged, we've never been unprivileged. So what's happening today is not exactly a right, it's actually gaining back our status quo, going back to where we belong. So having said that, I still find so many reasons to celebrate, because there was a time where we fell behind in terms of where we are in society, but now we're getting all of this back. So yes, we have 25% of our cabinet as female ministers. We have a 15% increase in our parliament representation of women, with 90 seats representation. These are all magnificent figures. But actually today, I really want to discuss 3 points in light of all of this. First, women empowerment cannot be taken out of the context of society as a whole. We cannot discuss women empowerment as an autonomous discussion or a point. We need to address poverty. We need to address lack of privilege. We need to address our system of education, our health system as a whole. So we need to empower people, not just women. And by empowering people, you're empowering societies. And you cannot empower people when you're not giving them their basic rights as human beings, the right to discuss who they are, to present themselves in the media, getting their rights as human beings, getting access to education. So I would rather that we take this up a notch from women to society as a whole, and use these amazing platforms and those amazing speakers to move this forward. The second point, which Nahla brought to our attention, and me and Walid actually loved, is the idea of digital transformation. Digital transformation has resolved a lot of our obstacles and challenges, and how this can roll out into better access, into inclusion, and into change, and providing more opportunities for growth and progress, not just to women, but to society as a whole. And finally, and this is where people like me come along, the storytellers and PR practitioners, how we can combine all of these factors together and create a beautiful Egyptian story. When we've been in the market as PR practitioners for the past 14 years, and when we reached our 10-year milestone, we wanted to create a dynamic for PR and see what PR is able to do. So we created the Narrative Summit, which is a platform that supports the branding of Egypt. We do not create a brand for Egypt because the brand is there. We communicate this brand. We instigate and support and solidify this brand. We engage people of knowledge, people of interest, people of charisma, like all of you, like the speakers here, in order to show the world what Egypt is capable of doing. And I cannot deny that women is part of this Egyptian story. So if I were to address each one of these 3 points, if I were to address poverty, I have to salute the Ministry of Social Solidarity, because actually the government has taken active steps towards programs like the Conditional Cash Transfer Program, the CCT, which I had the honor of seeing and participating in and looking at and discussing with Her Excellency Dr. Ghadawi. And these kind of programs provide access and support to cash and alleviation, or an attempt to alleviate the poverty of society. And I believe that poverty is key issue here that we have to address. Every single woman and man here in this room are empowered, we have access, we have support, but it is the world outside this room and outside this building that we really need to care of, because if this world still does not have this access, we will never be able to enjoy empowerment, and we will never be able to say a proper story. So poverty is a thing that I think the government is really working towards. The Egypt Vision 2030 has a whole section catered towards that. So I salute the government in their attempts, but we still have a long way to go, and I'm sure that Nana agrees to that with all the statistics. The second point is the financial inclusion and digital transformation. And here, I would like to bring to your attention that it does not conflict with literacy. Because I had an issue at first when I heard, because I'm not exactly an expert in digital transformation. So when I heard the term and I started reading about it, I thought, how can a country with 50% illiteracy and 60% poverty talk about digital transformation? Seriously, how come? How can we do that? And when I spoke to the UN for Women representative in Egypt, Blarta Aliko, and I asked her this question. I said, don't you find this a conflict? I mean, we don't have education, we have nothing, and you're talking to me about laptops and phones and digital transformation, bank accounts, 14% versus of all the women having bank accounts, if this is the right statistic. And she said to me, there is no conflict here. Actually, digital transformation, or the access to digital, is a solution to illiteracy. So as many times you will find women who are not well educated and they don't have the access or the knowledge, but you find them having access to their phones. They can see the numbers, they can look at the windows, and they can actually touch the screens and have access to information and be able to create transactions and be able to have government, whatever, procedures or paperwork that they can finalize or utilize. So actually, there are things that we have to place high priority on, because number one, it removes the corruption and it removes the middle people. It also creates opportunities, it fixes the issues of transportation. So digital transformation is not a luxury anymore, and it's a dialogue that we have to keep on pushing for, because seriously, this is one thing that will fix our education issues and our health issues, and it's going to be one of the key solutions in that. The third point, which revolves around how PR and how storytellers like ourselves can utilize all of those dynamics and create a good story, we really need the media to support. And there is a pink elephant in the room that I have to address here, which is the religious dogma behind women in different religions, and how we can change this narrative and how we can approach it. Because it's not about us anymore. We represent, 10% of the society? It's about more of the mainstream people in the society. So we need to not disengage anyone, and we have to be inclusive in our dialogues with different sectors of the society, and religion is a key component in this. The media is another key component, and I would love that we treat the media as a partner, not something that we're scared of, not something that we're against, but it's a platform that has to be utilized, both TV and digital. And I would not recommend that we all go digital, because TV and the traditional media still has a very important role in communication and in portraying the role of women, especially in drama, in cinema, and on TV. As far as legislations and laws, this is another thing that I would love for us as the pioneers in the society to push for, the status of women in laws and how this plays out, because we cannot talk about the branding of Egypt when we have loopholes in our legal systems, and we have loopholes in our societal system, and we have issues with our media platforms. So I would love to conclude. I don't want to take much of your time to conclude. I love it when we use our power, when we use our status, when we use our jobs to push for a cause. And I would love for us to take women as a gateway to push for other causes and to push for other dialogues, and as much as possible, because the president here, he always supports women and he always brings up this topic, but how can we as women in this room take ourselves and our issues and bring up more issues regarding society and how we fix those issues and spread them out. So thank you for offering me this time, and I really